the 12 powerful Titans of Greek mythology. They, the Titaness of sight and shining. Light Chapter 1. The birth of They, child of Uranus and Gaia. In the beginning, before the reign of the Olympian gods, before mortals walked upon the fertile lands of the earth, there was only the vastness of chaos. From chaos emerged Gaia, the eternal earth, whose body was the soil, the mountains, and the endless plains. She was the foundation of all life, the mother of many powerful beings. Alongside Gaia was Uranus, the boundless sky, whose star-studded dome stretched above her and completed the first union of creation. Together, Gaia and Uranus brought forth a family of immense power, the Titans. Each Titan embodied a force of nature, a principle that governed existence. Among them was They, radiant and pure, destined to represent the gifts of sight and the brilliance of shining light. From the moment of her birth, she glowed softly, her skin glimmering like the first light of dawn. Theia was unlike her siblings in subtle but profound ways. Cronus, the youngest and most ambitious, carried the burden of time and destruction. Oceanus, vast and unending, was the waters that encircled the world. Hyperion, bold and fiery, embodied the brilliance of the sun. But she was vision itself. She was the clear gaze that pierced through shadow, the light that revealed the beauty of the cosmos. When she opened her eyes for the first time, legends say the stars themselves shimmered more brightly, as if inspired by her luminous presence. Her gaze was said to hold secrets untold. Those who looked upon her saw not just the world before them, but truths hidden beneath the surface. The gift of sight was her dominion, but not in the sense of simple vision. Theia's sight was deeper, spiritual, and divine. It was clarity, wisdom, and the light of understanding. Theia's siblings often marveled at her presence. Kus, the Titan of intellect and inquiry, found her eyes a reflection of his own hunger for knowledge. Themis, the Titaness of law and order, saw in Theia's gaze the fairness of truth. Hyperion, the Titan of light, felt a natural kinship with her brilliance. Together, they and Hyperion would one day bring forth children who embodied the celestial lights of the heavens: Helios, the sun; Selene, the moon; and Eos, the dawn. But that part of her story was still yet to come. Uranus, her father, looked upon Theia with both pride and wariness. To him, light was both a gift and a threat. For though light illuminated creation, it also revealed truths he wished to keep hidden. He feared her ability to see beyond the veil of appearances, to perceive the flaws and cracks in his dominion over the cosmos. Gaia, on the other hand, embraced her daughter warmly. To Gaia, They was hope that her children would carry light and clarity into a world too often cloaked in darkness and conflict. From her earliest days, They wandered the vast halls of the heavens, her eyes tracing the patterns of the stars. Where Oceanus spread the seas, and Hyperion cast rays of light, they gave meaning to what was seen. She was the one who allowed beings to perceive beauty, to appreciate the colors of the sky, to marvel at the sparkle of gems and metals buried in the earth. In fact, ancient myths say it was they who first blessed gold, silver, and precious stones with their shining luster. Without her, they would have been dull and lifeless, but through her divine essence, they gained radiance. Thus, she became associated not only with sight, but with the brilliance of wealth and jewels. But peace among the Titans was never eternal. The shadow of Uranus's tyranny loomed over them all. He despised some of his children, the monstrous Cyclopes, and the 100-handed hecaton Chirzand cast them deep into the womb of Gaia. The earth groaned in agony, and Gaia plotted rebellion. They, still young among the Titans, bore witness to this strife. Her eyes saw not only the suffering of her mother, but also the arrogance of her father. Light could not be hidden forever, and she knew one day truth would blaze against the darkness. In the golden age of the Titans, Theia's role was not that of a warrior, but of a seer and a guide. She taught her siblings to see beyond appearances, to value clarity of mind. She was often sought out by others when disputes arose, for her vision seemed to cut through deceit. While Themis provided the law, they provided perspective. Together, they ensured fairness among the elder gods, at least for a time. And so, from the union of earth and sky, they entered the world, glowing like dawn upon a new horizon. She was not the most feared, nor the most powerful in raw strength, but her gift was subtler, more enduring. For in every age of gods and men, light and vision would be essential. Without Theia, the world would remain blind. With her, creation itself became illuminated, alive, and beautiful. This was the birth of Theia, the Titaness of sight and shining light, the beginning of a story that would weave together heaven and earth, truth and beauty, and the eternal glow of the cosmos. Chapter 2. They and the beauty of precious metals and gems from the very moment of her awakening. Theia's presence transformed the world around her. Unlike Cronus, who shaped the flow of time, or Oceanus, who stretched into infinity as the encircling river of the world, Theia's gift was subtler but no less essential. She gave light and brilliance to all that was touched by her gaze. In the deep caverns beneath Gaia's body, treasures of unimaginable splendor lay hidden. Veins of gold, streams of silver, and crystals clear as water. For ages they remained lifeless, dull, and unseen. The earth cradled them, but they were as mere shadows of their potential. It was they who first descended into those caverns, her luminous steps casting a glow upon the stone. As her eyes swept across the veins of ore, the crystals shimmered. Gold began to glow as though kissed by the sun. Silver gleamed with the purity of moonlight. Gems of crimson, emerald, and sapphire burst forth with dazzling brilliance. It was said that Theia's divine sight bestowed their beauty upon them, that without her blessing, precious metals and jewels would have remained nothing more than stone. They took joy in this act of illumination. She did not hoard these treasures, nor claim them for her own, for her gift was not ownership, but revelation. She revealed beauty where none had been recognized before. From that day onward, the earth itself sparkled with colors that dazzled even the gods. The Titans and their descendants would forever associate her with the brilliance of wealth, beauty, and adornment. When Hyperion, her fiery brother, first beheld the jewels shining in the earth, he laughed with delight. "Sister," he said, "you have given the stars of the heavens a reflection within the earth itself." Theia smiled, for she saw the truth of his words. The jewels were indeed mirrors of the cosmos, fragments of eternal light embedded in the body of Gaia. Themis, wise and just, admired her sister's work as well. "You bring clarity not only to vision," she told Theia, "but to the soul. These treasures remind us of order, for each gem reflects balance and perfection. You teach us to look beyond the surface and into the essence of things." But not all greeted Theia's gifts with joy. Cronus, ever wary and ambitious, eyed the sparkling treasures with suspicion. To him, brilliance was power, and power was always contested. He whispered that these gems might inspire envy and greed among gods and mortals alike. Yet they remained calm. She knew that light revealed both beauty and danger. It was not her role to dictate how others used what was illuminated. She was the revealer, not the ruler. As ages passed, mortals, those fragile children who would later rise under the Olympians, came to revere the treasures she had blessed. Gold became a symbol of divine power, silver of purity, and gems of eternal beauty. Kings crowned themselves with circlets of gold, not merely for wealth, but because they believed it shone with the favor of Theia. Priests adorned altars with precious stones to catch the light of the sun and the moon, reflecting the eternal dance of her children yet to be born, Helios, Selene, and Eos. It was also said that Theia's gaze could purify jewels of corruption. When darkness crept into the earth and tainted silver with dullness, her light restored it. When envy blackened the hearts of those who sought gold for greed, her essence reminded them that true wealth was not possession, but clarity and beauty. Yet beneath this gift lingered a quiet warning, for in bestowing radiance upon the hidden stones of the earth, they unknowingly sowed the seeds of conflict. Where beauty shines, desire follows. Where desire burns, envy stirs. And though Theia herself was untouched by such pettiness, her gifts would later play a role in both the glory and the downfall of gods and men. Still, in the age of the Titans, her presence was a blessing. She roamed the mountains, valleys, and seas, her eyes casting brilliance upon all she beheld. Flowers bloomed brighter in her presence. Waters sparkled more clearly, and even the stars above seemed to twinkle with greater fire when she looked upon them. Theia was not a warrior, nor a schemer, nor a ruler, but in her quiet way she gave meaning to the world. Without sight, beauty would remain hidden. Without brilliance, treasures would go unnoticed. And so the world learned to see through her, to marvel, to cherish, and to seek clarity. Thus, they became not only the Titaness of sight and shining light, but also the silent guardian of all that glitters, the mother of radiance in both heaven and earth. And in the glimmer of gems and the sparkle of precious metals, her legacy would forever endure. Chapter 3: Theia and Hyperion, a union of light among the Titans of the First Age. Few bonds were as radiant and harmonious as the union of Theia and Hyperion. She was the vision that revealed brilliance. He was the blazing fire that gave life to that brilliance. Together, they embodied the eternal dance of light and perception, a bond that would shape the heavens for all eternity. Hyperion, the Titan of heavenly fire, was fierce and majestic. His eyes shone like burning coals, and his voice rumbled like the roar of flame. Where he walked, warmth followed. Where he gazed, the skies ignited. Yet for all his might, there was within him a longing not for conquest, as in Cronus, nor for dominion, as in Oceanus, but for companionship. Fire could burn alone, but fire without reflection remained unseen. It was they who gave his fire purpose. When Hyperion blazed across the firmament, it was her sight that caught his light and magnified it. When he burned with the ferocity of the heavens, it was she who tempered that brilliance, allowing others to behold it without being consumed. He gave light, she gave meaning. He was flame, she was vision. Their first meeting was said to have taken place on the high ridges of Mount Othrys, where the Titans often gathered. Hyperion emerged from the horizon, a blazing figure wrapped in golden fire. His presence awe-inspiring. They stood upon the mountain's peak, her gaze steady, her eyes shining like twin mirrors of the sun. When his light fell upon her, it refracted into 1,000 colors, scattering across the heavens like jewels. "Your fire burns with glory, brother," Theia said gently, her voice carrying the calm of the dawn. "But without eyes to see it, it is lost to shadow. Let me bear witness, and together we shall weave brilliance across the world." Hyperion smiled, his fiery aura dimming so that her sight might not be blinded. "And you, sister, reveal what is hidden. Without your gaze, my light would vanish into void. With you, I shall become eternal." So began their union, one not only of kinship, but of cosmic harmony. Their bond was celebrated among the Titans, for it was unlike the harsh, rivalrous ties that so often bound their kin. While Cronus plotted in shadow and Atlas prepared for strength, Theia and Hyperion sought balance. Their union was not forged in ambition, but in shared purpose. Together they roamed the cosmos. Hyperion would set the sky aflame, painting dawns of crimson and dusks of violet, while Theia's vision drew out the hidden beauty within his fire, transforming it into colors unseen before. They brought brilliance to the heavens, making the firmament a living canvas of light. From their love sprang children who would carry their legacy into eternity. Helios, the radiant sun, whose chariot would blaze across the sky each day, bringing warmth and life. Selene, the gentle moon, whose silver light soothed the earth by night, guiding travelers and dreamers. Eos, the rosy-fingered dawn, who each morning opened the gates of heaven for the sun's arrival. Each child bore the essence of both parents. Hyperion's fire and Theia's brilliance joined in eternal cycles of time. They adored her children, seeing in them the continuation of her gift. "Helios, you shall be the eye of the heavens," she said, caressing the newborn sun with her radiant gaze. "Selene, you shall be the jewel of night, silver and pure. Eos, you shall be the herald of light, the messenger of hope." Hyperion, proud and fierce, declared, "Through them our light shall never fade. Even should the Titans fall, the fire and brilliance of our union will shine on forever." But whispers of unease began to stir. Cronus, ever wary, watched the rise of this luminous family with suspicion. He saw in Helios the fire that might rival his dominion, in Selene the quiet glow that might guide mortals beyond his reach, and in Eos the herald of change. "Their light may blind us," he muttered to himself, "and blind light can overthrow even kings." Yet they and Hyperion paid little heed to Cronus's murmurs. Their love was not born of ambition, and their purpose was not conquest. Together they embodied harmony, the union of flame and vision, the eternal promise that light would always be seen, and sight would always have light to reveal. It was said that when they and Hyperion lay together in their embrace, the heavens themselves blazed with colors beyond mortal comprehension, auroras that danced across the skies, shimmering as a testament to their love. To mortals, these lights became omens of divine favor, and to the gods, they were reminders that beauty could exist even among the often harsh and rivalrous Titans. Thus, they and Hyperion became not merely siblings, but companions, lovers, and co-creators of brilliance. Their legacy would endure through their children, through every sunrise, every moonlit night, and every dawn that broke the horizon. For as long as the heavens shone, their union would never fade. Chapter 4. The Birth of Helios. The sun's first journey across the sky From the union of Theia and Hyperion, their firstborn child emerged, Helios, the radiant titan of the sun. His birth was unlike that of any other being, for with his first cry, the heavens themselves blazed with fire, and golden light flooded across the cosmos. The dawn of his existence marked the dawn of all mortal days. They cradled her son with reverence, for she knew that within him burned the eternal fire of Hyperion and the brilliance of her own sight. His hair shone like threads of molten gold, and his eyes glimmered with the light of 1,000 suns. When he laughed, sparks danced in the air. When he opened his arms, warmth spread across the world. This child, they whispered, her gaze shimmering, is the eye of heaven. Through him, all creation shall be seen. Hyperion stood tall beside her, his fiery aura blazing brighter than ever. He is my flame made flesh, yet tempered by your vision, they are. His light will not only burn, it will guide, it will give life, it will bring order to the cycles of day and night. The Titans marveled at the boy's radiance, though not all with equal joy. Oceanus, lord of the endless waters, felt the warmth touch his seas, and for the first time, his waves sparkled with golden light. He has given me a face, Oceanus declared, for Helios's reflection danced across his currents. But Cronus looked upon Helios with narrowed eyes, though he concealed his thoughts. Deep within him stirred unease. A light that shines too brightly, he murmured, casts shadows too dark. Perhaps one day, this sun of fire will burn beyond control. They, however, nurtured her child with unwavering love. She taught Helios to see the world not merely as it was, but as it could be revealed through brilliance. Your gift, my son, she told him, is not only to shine, but to illuminate. Without your light, nothing may be seen. You will bring clarity to mortals and gods alike. In time, Helios grew strong, and Hyperion guided him to his destiny. From the heart of Olympus's forge, Hephaestus, though still unborn in mortal time, was said in later myths to craft for Helios a golden chariot, drawn by 4 blazing steeds, Pyrrha, Eos, Ethon, and Phlegon. These horses, born of pure flame and celestial fire, embodied the unstoppable force of the sun's journey. When the day came for Helios's first descent into the heavens, the Titans gathered to witness. Theia and Hyperion stood proudly at the horizon. Selene, still a babe in her mother's arms, cooed at the brightness of her brother, while Eos, not yet born, slumbered in Theia's womb. Helios mounted his chariot, his hands steady upon the reins of fire. I shall bring light to every corner of the earth, he declared. His voice, though youthful, carried the weight of destiny. At Hyperion's signal, the steeds surged forward, and Helios rose into the sky. The earth, long shrouded in twilight, burst into day. Mountains gleamed, seas sparkled, forests awakened. The first mortals lifted their faces to the heavens, feeling warmth upon their skin for the first time, and they cried out in awe and gratitude. They wept as she watched her son ascend, her tears falling as drops of crystal light. He brings vision to the blind, warmth to the cold, and hope to the despairing, she said. So long as he rides, the world will know clarity. But the journey was perilous. As Helios drove his chariot higher, the steeds strained with fiery power, threatening to scorch the heavens. The boy's youthful hand trembled upon the reins. The firmament cracked with flame, and for a moment the world teetered between brilliance and destruction. Seeing this, Hyperion bellowed across the sky, "Steady, my son. The sun must shine, not consume. Guide them. do not restrain them, for fire must flow, but flow with purpose. Helios took strength from his father's voice and calm from his mother's gaze. Slowly, he steadied the steeds, their wild fire turning into golden radiance. The heavens ceased to tremble, and light poured evenly across the world. Dawn became day, day became dusk, and with perfect grace, Helios completed his first journey, descending beyond the western horizon into the embrace of Oceanus's waters. That night, the world hushed in awe of what had occurred. The first cycle of day and night had begun, and with it, time itself found its rhythm. They welcomed her son back into her arms as he returned from his journey, his golden hair damp with sea spray from Oceanus. "You are the herald of life," she told him, "the eternal witness. Never forget, Helios, your light is not your own, it belongs to the world." And so, Helios took his place in the order of existence. Each day, he would rise from the east, cross the heavens, and descend into the west. Each night, he would travel unseen through the underworld, only to emerge anew at dawn. In his path, mortals found the measure of time, gods found a symbol of power, and all beings found the gift of sight. They, radiant and serene, watched with pride. Her legacy had begun. Through Helios, the brilliance of vision and the fire of light would forever illuminate the cosmos. Chapter 5. Selene, the silver glow of night. If Helios was the blazing flame of day, then Selene was the gentle jewel of night. Born as the second child of Theia and Hyperion, she carried within her the calm serenity of her mother Escase and the quiet radiance of her father Esphire. While Helios scorched the heavens with his brilliance, Selene softened the world with her silver glow, a light not meant to blind, but to comfort. They knew from the moment she held Selene in her arms that the child was destined for balance. The baby's skin shimmered like polished ivory, and her hair gleamed as though woven from threads of moonlight. Her eyes held a glow that was neither flame nor reflection, but something entirely her own, mysterious, serene, eternal. "Helios rules the day," they whispered, cradling her daughter close. "But you, my Selene, shall reign over night. Through you, mortals will not stumble in darkness, but find guidance and solace." Hyperion, though a titan of fire, was deeply moved by his daughter's presence. "Her light does not burn," he said in awe, "yet it pierces shadow more truly than flame. She is the heart of stillness, the mirror of eternity." From her earliest days, Selene was drawn to the heavens. As Helios rode his chariot across the sky, she would gaze upward with longing. "When my time comes, mother," she whispered, "I will follow his path, not to rival, but to complete it. For where the sun departs, the moon must rise." They prepared her daughter with care, teaching her the power of vision in shadow. "Light need not be fierce to be powerful," she explained. "Sometimes the gentlest glow is the truest guide. You will rule not by force, but by presence. You will teach mortals to find beauty in quietness and hope in darkness." In time, Selene was gifted her own chariot, though unlike Helios's blazing steeds, hers were gentle and pale. Two white horses, their manes shimmering like frost beneath the stars, drew her silver chariot across the heavens. Some myths whispered that her steeds were not horses but winged oxen of luminous hide, their breath glowing in the night air. Whatever the form, they were creatures of mystery, belonging wholly to Selene's realm. When her moment of ascension arrived, the Titans gathered once more. Helios, proud elder brother, encouraged her. "Sister, you need not burn as I do. Your light is your own, and it will bring peace to a world weary from my flame." And so Selene ascended into the heavens. Her silver glow spread gently across the night, casting shadows that were no longer terrifying but enchanting. Rivers gleamed with her reflection, mountains glowed softly, and mortals looked upon her with awe. Lovers whispered beneath her light, poets found inspiration in her glow, and travelers gave thanks, for her gentle radiance guided them on their journeys. Selene, unlike Helios, did not blaze a single path across the heavens. She waxed and waned, sometimes shining in fullness, sometimes retreating into darkness, a cycle that mirrored the rhythms of mortal life. They explained this to her daughter. "You will not always be whole, Selene, but your changing form will teach mortals that nothing remains the same. Growth, decline, renewal, these are the truths of existence." Thus began the lunar cycle, the eternal dance of fullness and emptiness, of light and shadow. Mortals marked their time by her phases, sowed their crops by her rhythms, and measured their lives by her glow. But not all looked kindly upon Selene's ascent. Cronus, ever suspicious, grumbled in discontent. One child to rule the day, another the night. How long before they claim the heavens entirely? Perhaps this brood will outshine even the Titans themselves. Yet they and Hyperion remained steadfast. "Our children bring balance, not conquest," they replied firmly. "Helios gives life, and Selene brings peace. They are not rivals, but complements. To deny them would be to deny the harmony of the cosmos itself." Selene embraced her role with grace, but she was not without her mysteries. Legends later told of her love for Endymion, a mortal shepherd of surpassing beauty. It was said that Selene descended from her chariot to gaze upon him as he slept, her silver light caressing his face. In time, she begged Zeus to grant him eternal sleep, so that she might love him forever, unaging and undying beneath her glow. This story, whispered among mortals, made Selene not only a goddess of the night, but of romance and eternal devotion. Her siblings admired her, Helios for her calm strength, and Eos when at last she was born for the way Selene's silver glow bridged night into dawn. To mortals, she became more than a celestial body. She was the guardian of dreams, the protector of travelers, and the ever-watchful eye of night. They, proud and radiant, declared, "My children are the eyes of heaven." Helios sees the day, Selene sees the night, and together they ensure that nothing is hidden from sight. Thus, Selene's journey began. Each night she rode her chariot, her silver glow blessing the world with tranquility. Each cycle she waxed and waned, teaching mortals patience and faith in renewal. And in every shadow she illuminated, her mother's gift of sight was fulfilled. Chapter 6, Eos, the dawn's first light, before the world could awaken, before the chorus of birds began, before even mortals stirred from sleep, there was Eos, the rosy-fingered dawn, the youngest daughter of Theia and Hyperion. She was the final jewel in their celestial crown. If Helios was the blazing sun and Selene the silver moon, then Eos was the bridge between them, the herald of beginnings, the golden thread stitching night to day. When they first held her third child, the sky itself blushed. The infant's hair shone like strands of copper kissed by the rising sun, and her skin glowed with the warm radiance of first light. Unlike her elder siblings, whose presence was steady and monumental, Eos carried with her an aura of constant renewal. Her very breath seemed to whisper, Awake, world, for a new day has begun. Mother, whispered Helios as he looked upon his sister. Her glow is softer than mine, yet it carries a promise I cannot give. She is not the day itself, but its awakening. Selene, gazing upon the newborn, smiled gently. She comes where I fade. She takes my hand and leads me into your brilliance. Without her, the world would stumble from night into day without grace. Hyperion, though fierce and fiery, was moved. She is the fire of hope, the renewal of all things. While I blaze and Selene soothes, Eos will rouse the sleeping earth. From her earliest years, Eos was restless. She would rise before her siblings, racing across the meadows of dawn, her laughter ringing like chimes in the cool air. Flowers seemed to bloom wherever her feet touched, and the skies painted themselves in hues of gold, pink, and lavender at her approach. They nurtured her daughter's gift carefully. Your role is not to dominate, my child, but to awaken. You must remind mortals each morning that darkness is never eternal. You are the song that calls life to rise again. Eos grew into her power, and in time she was granted her own chariot. Unlike Helios's fiery steeds or Selene's pale companions, hers were swift and radiant horses, with manes like liquid gold. Their names, Lampus and Phaethon, meant shining and radiant, and they pulled her across the heavens with dazzling speed. When they galloped, the sky itself caught fire with color. At her first true ascent, the gods and Titans gathered to witness. Selene had just descended, her silver light fading into the horizon. Then, from the east, a soft glow began to spread. Eos rose, her rosy fingers stretching across the sky, painting it with colors unseen before. Mortals below stirred at her coming, their dreams dissolving as the promise of day touched their faces. Farmers rose to till their fields, shepherds guided their flocks, and children blinked awake, marveling at the beauty of her colors. See how she heralds the day without stealing from it, they whispered proudly. Eos is the gentle trumpet, the call that life cannot ignore. Helios, following after, roared across the heavens in his blazing chariot. Sister, he called, your gift is the path I travel. Without you, my fire would strike the world to suddenly. You soften me, you prepare the earth for my arrival. Eos laughed, her voice like birdsong. And without you, brother, my light would fade too quickly. I wake the world, but you sustain it. Together, we weave the cycle of life. Selene, too, honored her younger sister. You are my bridge, she told Eos one evening. Without you, my gentle night would vanish too sharply. You honor my fading with your blush, and in turn, I prepare the world for your glow. We are not rivals, but dancers, each passing the rhythm to the next. But Eos's heart was unlike her siblings. She was a dreamer, ever yearning for love. Myths tell of her many passions, of her longing for mortal kings and her unions with gods. It was said that her beauty and her warmth were so great that Zeus himself, in both admiration and caution, warned her not to bind herself too deeply to mortals. Yet Eos, restless and ever-renewing, could not resist the pull of love. One story tells of her love for Titaness, a mortal prince of Troy. So deeply did she adore him that she begged Zeus to grant him immortality. The request was granted, but in her haste, Eos forgot to ask for eternal youth. Thus, while Titaness lived forever, he withered into frailty, his body aging beyond recognition. Eos, heartbroken, transformed him into a grasshopper, allowing him to sing eternally in the fields at dawn, his voice forever reminding her of their love. Theia, watching her daughter's sorrows and joys, counseled her gently. Your heart is boundless, my child, but even love must know balance. Do not despair, you are the herald of each day, and in you lies the reminder that no loss is final, no night eternal. With each sunrise, the world begins anew. And so Eos embraced her role fully. Each morning she raced across the sky, her golden chariot igniting the heavens with pink and gold. Her laughter mingled with the songs of birds. Her breath stirred the morning winds, and her presence promised renewal to gods and mortals alike. The Titans knew then that Theia's children were not mere lights, but the very cycle of existence. Helios blazed with the strength of the day, Selene soothed with the calm of night, and Eos awakened the world with the promise of tomorrow. Together, they formed a trinity of light, born from Theia's vision and Hyperion's flame. And in their harmony, the world found order, beauty, and balance. Thus, Eos the dawn's first light became immortalized as the eternal herald of day, the goddess who reminded all of creation that after every darkness, light would return. Chapter 7. The Prophecy of Theia's Children. Long before the Olympians rose to power, whispers of destiny circled the halls of the cosmos. Theia, Titaness of sight and shining light, who had given the world its most radiant forces, Helios, Selene, and Eos, was no stranger to visions of the future. Unlike other Titans who reveled in power, Theia's sight pierced the veil of time itself. She had seen empires rise and fall, gods overthrow gods, and mortals shaping their own fates beneath the eternal sky. Yet, among all these visions, there was one prophecy that burned brighter than the rest. The children of Theia and Hyperion would shape the balance of the cosmos itself. It was not a prophecy spoken aloud by the fates, nor carved into the stars by Uranus or Gaia. It was something deeper, etched into the very fabric of existence. One twilight, as the sky glowed with both Selene's silver light and the fading blush of Eos, they gathered her children on the peak of Mount Othrys. Helios stood tall and fierce, his eyes like burning embers. Selene was serene, her silver robes flowing like a river of moonlight. Eos danced lightly at the edge, her laughter carrying in the cool evening air. "My children," they said, her voice like the hush before dawn, "you are not merely lights in the heavens. You are the very rhythm of life itself. The day, the night, and the dawn are not separate, Mother. I am the strength of the day. My fire sustains the world. But how could I be bound to night or dawn? We follow different paths." They smiled knowingly. Strength without rest burns to ash. Fire without balance consumes what it seeks to protect. Without Selena's cool touch, your blaze would scorch the earth. Without Eos, the world would awaken to chaos, unprepared for your fire. Each of you is powerful alone, but together you hold dominion over the cycle of time itself. Selene lowered her gaze, thoughtful. "Then we are not just children of light, we are guardians of order." "Yes," they said, her golden eyes reflecting the glow of her children. "And the order you create will endure far beyond the reign of Titans or Olympians. You are not bound by thrones or wars. You are eternal, for without you, the world cannot exist." Her words carried a weight the children could feel, even if they did not fully understand. But they was not alone in seeing this truth. The prophecy had reached other ears, those of the Titans themselves. Some, like Oceanus, welcomed the harmony her children brought. He saw in them the balance of his own endless rivers, flowing from dawn to dusk, from moonrise to sunrise. Yet others were wary. Cronus, the king of Titans, whose paranoia grew with each passing year, saw Theia's prophecy as a threat. If her children embodied the cycle itself, he muttered to Rhea, then they bow to no throne, not even mine. Rhea, ever gentle, tried to soothe him. They are not usurpers, Cronus. They do not hunger for crowns. They move with the heavens, not against you. But Cronus's mind was already shadowed with suspicion. He had heard another prophecy, that one of his own children would overthrow him. And though Helios, Selene, and Eos were not his offspring, their very existence reminded him that fate had ways of weaving rebellion into the stars. They, aware of Cronus's unease, grew cautious. She shielded her children as best she could, encouraging them to focus not on power, but on their duties. Let the world see you as guides, not rulers, she warned. Your strength lies not in thrones, but in constancy. One night, as Selene rose high, the three siblings stood together at the horizon where their lights met. Helios spoke first. Mother's words weigh heavily upon me. If it is true that we are bound by fate, then what role shall we play when the Titans fall? Eos twirled, her laughter fading into thoughtfulness. We will do what we always do. I will rise, Selene will soothe, and you will blaze. Thrones may fall, but the sky will always need us. Selene placed her hand upon her brother's shoulder. Perhaps that is the truth of the prophecy that we endure beyond chaos. That no war, no king, no god can end the cycle we embody. For a moment, silence stretched between them, filled only by the whispering winds of night. Then Helios nodded slowly. If that is our fate, then let it be so. We are not pawns of kings. We are the heartbeat of the world. From that day onward, the prophecy of Theia's children became a quiet undercurrent in the tales of gods and mortals alike. When mortals looked to the skies and saw dawn follow night and day follow dawn, they whispered of the eternal children of light who watched over them. And though war brewed among the Titans, though suspicion gnawed at Cronus's heart, they held firm in her faith. Her children were not warriors of conquest or rulers of palaces. They were something far greater, guardians of the eternal cycle. The prophecy would outlast the Titans, the Olympians, and even the memory of those who sought to rule. For as long as the world turned, dawn would always follow night, and day would always return. Thus, Theia's vision endured, woven not in words, but in the everlasting rhythm of light. Chapter 8. The harmony of sun, moon, and dawn. The prophecy of Theia's children lingered in the minds of gods and Titans alike. But for Helios, Selene, and Eos, it was not fear that guided them. Instead, they sought to live in harmony, each fulfilling the role their mother had revealed. From the high halls of Athres to the mortal plains below, their movements shaped the very pulse of the world. Each day, mortals awoke to the rosy fingers of dawn stretching across the sky. Eos, radiant and playful, scattered light like blossoms upon the horizon, awakening birds, flowers, and men alike. Behind her came Helios, golden and fierce, guiding his chariot of fire across the heavens. His rays nourished crops, warmed the seas, and gave strength to mortals as they toiled. And when his journey ended, Selene's silver veil descended, soothing the weary, calming the oceans, and casting dreams upon the sleeping world. This rhythm was not merely a cycle of time, it was harmony. a song of the cosmos that only they could sing. One evening, as the stars began to awaken, the three siblings gathered on a cloud high above the mortal world. Selene's robes shimmered with moonlight. Helios's presence glowed like a flame in the dark, and Eos, ever vibrant, twirled with laughter, scattering sparks of morning light even in twilight. "We are bound together," Selene said softly, gazing at her brother and sister. "Without you, Helios, my night would fall into endless slumber. Without you, Eos, my rise would be shrouded in silence. We are not separate, but parts of the same whole." Helios crossed his arms, though a smile flickered on his lips. "You speak of bonds, sister, but do you not see how mortals worship us, each in their own way? Farmers cry out for my sun, sailors pray to your moon, and poets sing to Eos's dawn. If one of us falters, the others will still shine." Eos shook her head, her golden hair catching sparks of light. "No, Helios, if you did not rise, there would be no day for mortals to till the soil. If Selene did not calm the world, sleep and dreams would fade into madness. If I did not arrive before you, the world would wake in chaos, unready for your fire. We are not rivals, we are a chain unbroken." Her words carried weight, though spoken with her usual warmth. Helios's fiery pride softened, and he lowered his gaze. "Perhaps you are right. Alone we are powerful, but together we are eternal." It was then that Theia herself appeared among them, her radiance outshining even the stars. She listened in silence before speaking, her voice a melody of wisdom. "My children, you have seen the truth for yourselves. You are not merely lights in the sky, you are harmony itself. Mortals live, love, and die within the rhythm you create. Even the gods draw strength from your order. Zeus may thunder, Poseidon may command the seas, Hades may rule the underworld, but without you three, the world would unravel." Selene looked up at her mother, her silver eyes glowing. "Then we are not only guardians of time, but of balance." "Yes," they said, laying her hand gently upon her daughter's cheek. "And it is balance that even the mightiest kings often forget far away." Upon his throne, Cronus watched the movements of the heavens with unease. Each dawn, each day, and each night reminded him of the prophecy he so dreaded. Though Theia's children bore no desire for thrones, their constancy mocked his fragile reign. For while his power could falter, theirs would endure for eternity. But they paid no heed to his envy. She trusted in the purity of her children's roles. She knew that no Titan, no Olympian, no force of chaos could shatter the bond of the cycle. That night, Selene cast her silver glow across the earth. Helios slumbered in the west, and Eos prepared her colors for the coming dawn. Theia's heart swelled with pride. Her children had become not just bearers of light, but keepers of harmony. And so, mortals came to revere them, not as separate deities, but as a trinity of eternal order. Farmers rose with Eos, labored beneath Helios, and rested under Selene. Sailors charted courses by the moon and stars. Lovers whispered vows in dawn's first light, and poets sang of the fire of day tempered by the calm of night. From that time onward, the world knew peace in the certainty that after night came dawn. After dawn came day, and after day came night again. It was not just the cycle of time, it was the song of life itself. And in that eternal harmony, Theia's prophecy found its first true fulfillment. Chapter 9. Cronus's fear of the children of light. Cronus sat upon his throne on Mount Othrys, a crown of cold starlight upon his head, yet his heart carried no peace. Around him, the other Titans celebrated their dominance over the cosmos, drinking nectar and boasting of their power. But Cronus remained silent, his sharp gaze fixed upon the heavens. For every dawn, every blazing day, and every silvery night reminded him of Theia's children, Helios, Selene, and Eos. They did not seek thrones, nor did they raise armies against him. Yet their very existence gnawed at the core of his being. For Cronus was not merely a king, he was a tyrant who feared change, and nothing symbolized change more than the endless cycle of light that mocked his fragile rule. "Why do you frown, brother?" Oceanus asked, his deep voice echoing like waves upon a cliff. "The seas obey me, the stars follow their paths, and the mortals kneel to us. All is well." Cronus's eyes narrowed. "All is not well, Oceanus. Can you not see? Each dawn and night remind me of a prophecy that my throne shall fall, and that one of my offspring, or the offspring of my kin, shall rise to overthrow me." Rhea, sitting nearby, cast a wary glance. "You speak of shadows, Cronus. Our reign is secure. Do not let whispers of fate unsettle your mind." But Cronus slammed his hand against his throne, his voice rumbling like thunder. "You are blind, all of you. Look at Theia's children. They are no ordinary beings. They weave the rhythm of time itself. Mortals rise and rest by their light. Even the gods draw strength from their order. Do you not see the danger? In their constancy lies power greater than any crown." The hall grew silent. None dared speak against the king, but unease stirred among the Titans. That night, Cronus walked alone beneath the stars. His thoughts grew dark, his fears twisting into paranoia. In every shimmer of moonlight, he saw Selene mocking his reign. In every blaze of dawn, he felt Eos heralding the end of his power. And in Helios's fiery chariot, he saw a force that could scorch away his very throne. "These children," Cronus muttered, "must be broken. Their harmony must be shattered before it grows into rebellion." But Cronus knew he could not strike openly. Theia was no weak Titaness. Her sight pierced through falsehood, and her wrath would be terrible. Worse still, the children were beloved by mortals and gods alike. To move against them directly would invite outrage and rebellion. Instead, he turned to guile. Cronus summoned shadowy spirits of night, children of Nyx, and whispered his will. "Go," he commanded, his voice cold as steel. "Sow discord among the lights. Turn brother against sister, and let their unity crack. If they falter, their power weakens. And if they weaken, I will strike." The spirits bowed and vanished, slithering into the skies like serpents of smoke. Meanwhile, in the high heavens, they sat beside her children, watching the cycles unfold. She sensed the stirring of shadows, faint as whispers upon the wind. Her golden eyes narrowed. "Cronus moves against you," she told her children. Helios flared with fury, fire burning in his veins. "Let him try. My flames will scorch his throne to ash." Selene placed a calming hand on her brother's shoulder. "We must not rush into anger. If we break harmony, we fulfill his desire. Unity is our shield." Eos, bright and restless, frowned. "But if he sends shadows, how can we fight what hides in the dark?" Theia's gaze softened, though her voice was firm. "Remember, my children, you are not merely sun, moon, and dawn. You are the breath of time, the rhythm of the cosmos. So long as you stand together, even the might of Cronus cannot sever your bond. But in the distance, the shadows of Nyx whispered into the ears of gods and mortals alike, planting seeds of doubt. Whispers rose. What if Helios scorches the earth in pride? What if Selene traps the world in endless night? What if Eos brings dawn too soon, unbalancing the world? These whispers, though faint, began to creep into the hearts of the siblings themselves, and in their unity, the first cracks began to appear. Chapter 10: The Shadows of Discord. The heavens that once shimmered with perfect harmony now trembled with unseen tension. Though the sun still rose, the dawn still painted the skies, and the moon still glided across the night. Something subtle, yet dangerous, had begun to creep into the hearts of Theia's radiant children. The whispers of Nyx's shadows spread like mist, clinging to thoughts and twisting truth into doubt. Mortals began to murmur among themselves. The sun burns too hot, the moon lingers too long, the dawn comes too early, and the gods, ever attuned to the murmurs of mortals, carried those doubts into their councils. It was not long before Helios, Selene, and Eos themselves began to feel the weight of those words. One afternoon, as Helios guided his chariot across the skies, he heard faint voices carried on the wind. Too proud, too fierce, he burns not for the world, but for himself. His golden hands tightened around the reins, his fiery steeds rearing as though sensing his anger. Is that how they see me? Helios muttered, his blazing eyes narrowing, as nothing but a tyrant of fire. Do they not see that without me, the earth would wither in darkness? That night, Selene descended with her silver glow, but instead of peace, she felt unease. Mortals dreamed fitfully, tossing and turning beneath her light. She, too, heard whispers. The night grows too deep. The moon is cold, distant. A queen who cares little for those who sleep beneath her gaze. Selena's heart trembled. Do they truly believe me, so unfeeling? Have my gentle rays been mistaken for cruelty? Eos, ever joyous, began to notice mortals rising with weariness instead of song at her arrival. One morning, she paused on the horizon, her golden fingers hesitant to paint the sky. She heard the words as clearly as her siblings had. The dawn is too hasty. She tears mortals from their rest, forcing them into toil before their bodies are ready. For the first time, Eos felt her laughter falter. Have I not brought them hope? Do they now curse the very sight of my light? And so the seeds of discord, sown by Cronus's will, began to sprout. That evening, the siblings gathered in a hall of clouds, their radiant forms dimmed with unease. Helios's flames flickered erratically, Selena's silver glow wavered like a fading lantern, and Eos's colors were dull, muted by her doubt. It seems the mortals despise us, Helios said harshly, his voice like crackling fire. They see me as a tyrant, and me as a cold queen, Selene whispered. And me as an intruder of sleep, Eos added, her usual playfulness gone. The three exchanged troubled glances. Where once there had been unity, now there was suspicion. Perhaps, Helios said, his tone sharp, it is your fault, sisters. Selene, you lingered too long, stretching the night into eternity. Eos, you arrive too eagerly, cutting short their rest. Of course, they resent me when my fire comes upon an unprepared world. Selene recoiled, silver tears forming in her eyes. Do not cast the blame upon us, brother. If you did not burn so fiercely, they would not fear your heat. Do you not see how the earth dries beneath your gaze? Eos stepped forward, her dawn-colored hair whipping in the wind. Enough, both of you think only of yourselves. You forget that it is my dawn that must balance your night and day. Yet you accuse me of haste when I am the bridge between you. The hall trembled as their voices rose, harmony unraveling into chaos. It was then that they appeared, her presence luminous, her golden eyes fierce. Silence, she commanded, her voice echoing across the heavens. The siblings froze, shame flooding their hearts beneath their mother's gaze. My children, they said, her tone heavy with sorrow, do you not see the poison of Cronus's fear? He cannot touch you openly, so he sends shadows to twist your minds. You are not despised, you are necessary. Mortals may complain, gods may whisper, but their lives depend upon your light. Helios lowered his head, fire dimming. Selene wiped her tears, and Eos clutched her mother's hand like a child once more. You are the cycle, they continued. Alone, you falter. Together, you are eternal. Do not give Cronus what he desires. Do not let shadows divide what light has bound. Her words pierced the fog of doubt, and for a moment, clarity returned to the children of Theia. But the shadows of discord had not vanished. They lingered in the corners of the sky, waiting for the next weakness, ready to strike again. And far away, Cronus watched from his throne, a cruel smile upon his lips. Yes, he whispered, the cracks have begun. Soon their harmony will shatter, and when it does, so too shall their power. Chapter 11. The Trial of Unity. The words of Theia lingered in the hearts of her radiant children, but so too did the sting of their quarrel. Though Helios, Selene, and Eos bowed to their mother's wisdom, the shadows of Cronus's influence still coiled about them like unseen chains. Unity had been shaken, and to mend it, they would need more than words, they would need a trial. It began with an omen. One evening, as Selene rose into the sky, her silver glow dimmed unexpectedly. Clouds gathered, though no storm had been called, and the stars themselves seemed to vanish from her path. Below, mortals cried out in fear. The moonlight has failed. The night grows blind. The next morning, when Eos prepared to lift the dawn, her rosy fingers faltered. The horizon resisted her touch, the darkness clinging as if refusing to yield. Mortals shivered in the cold gloom, whispering, dawn has abandoned us. And when Helios took up his chariot to drive the sun across the heavens, his steeds reared wildly, their flames sputtering. His golden rays spread unevenly, scorching some lands, while leaving others in shadow. Mortals cried, the sun has lost its strength, the balance of light had broken. Theia, watching with sorrow from her throne of radiance, summoned her children to her side. This is no accident, she declared. Cronus has woven a trial into the fabric of your being. He seeks to prove that without unity, your power collapses. You must face this test not with pride, not with blame, but together. But how, Mother? Eos asked, her voice trembling. Our light falters even when we try. What if we fail the world? They placed a gentle hand upon her daughter's cheek. Then the world will falter with you. That is the truth of your bond. But failure is only certain if you let doubt rule your hearts. With her blessing, the siblings returned to the heavens. For the first time, they stood side by side, not as sun, moon, and dawn, but as one. The trial revealed itself at once. From the void of Nyx emerged a shadow beast, vast and formless, born of Cronus's will. Its body writhed like smoke, its eyes glowed with hatred, and its voice was a chorus of whispers. You are not loved. You are not needed. Mortals curse you. Gods pity you. You are alone. The creature stretched its darkness across the heavens, blotting out the stars, devouring the moon's glow, and swallowing the sun's fire. For a moment, it seemed as if the world itself would return to the chaos before creation. Helios flared with anger. I will burn it away. He spurred his steeds, fire bursting from his chariot, but the beast absorbed the flames, growing darker still. Selene raised her silver staff, sending waves of moonlight crashing upon the shadow. But the creature twisted, swallowing her glow until even her face dimmed. Eos leaped forward, her laughter forced back into her throat as she cast dawn's colors against the darkness. Yet the beast only sneered, its whispers louder. You are nothing apart. Together, you are weaker still. The siblings staggered, nearly undone by despair. Then Theia's voice echoed faintly in their hearts. Alone, you falter. Together, you are eternal. Helios looked to his sisters, his pride stripped away. I cannot fight this alone. Lend me your light. Selene reached for his hand, her tears shining. Nor I without you. Take my glow, brother. Eos grasped them both, her dawn-colored hair blazing with determination, and mine as well. Let us be one flame, one cycle, one eternal light. In that instant, their powers intertwined. Helios's fire, Selene's silver glow, and Eos's golden dawn merged into a radiant sphere of brilliance, the pure essence of light itself. With a cry, they released it as one. The radiance tore through the shadow beast, unraveling its whispers, shattering its body into dust. The darkness screamed and dissolved into nothingness, cast back into the void from which it came. The heavens cleared, the stars returned. Mortals below raised their voices in awe and gratitude. The sun has risen, the moon shines again, the dawn is beautiful. Helios's chariot steadied, his flames no longer wild. Selene's silver glow spread soft and serene across the night. Eos's dawn burst forth, colors brighter than ever before. Balance had been restored, not by power, but by unity. As they stood together, Helios spoke with humility. I burn not for myself, but for the world, Selene added, her voice gentle. I shine not to be adored, but to bring peace. And Eos laughed, her joy returned. And I rise not to hasten toil, but to awaken hope. Theia, watching from afar, smiled with pride. My children, she whispered, you have passed the trial. Let Cronus plot as he will, your bond cannot be broken. But Cronus, in the depths of Tartarus, did not despair. Instead, he tightened his fists and growled. They have proven strong, yet even unity can be tested again and again. The war of Titans is not yet over, and so the trial ended, but the greater struggle still loomed on the horizon. Chapter 12. The Eternal Cycle, when the shadow beast of Cronus dissolved into nothingness. Peace seemed to return to the heavens. Mortals rejoiced beneath the balance of sun, moon, and dawn, giving thanks for the light that had been restored. Yet Theia knew this was not an ending, but a beginning. For the trial had revealed a truth that would echo throughout eternity. Her children's power was not separate, but bound together in an eternal cycle. One evening, they gathered Helios, Selene, and Eos upon the high cliffs of Othrys, where the wind carried whispers of ancient times. The sea glittered below, catching the shimmer of Selene's silver light. While the horizon still glowed faintly with Eos's dawn, Helios's golden fire warmed the air around them. "My beloved children," they began, her voice soft yet carrying the weight of prophecy. "You have faced Cronus's test and triumphed, but more awaits you than battle. You are not simply bearers of light, you are the eternal rhythm upon which the world depends. Today, I name you as guardians of the eternal cycle." The three listened closely, their faces glowing in the mingled light of their presence. "You, Helios," they said, turning to her son, "are the fire that drives life. Mortals will look to you with hope and fear, for your flame sustains crops, warms their homes, and marks the passing of the day. Yet remember, without rest, fire consumes. Without balance, flame destroys." Helios bowed his head, the pride in his chest tempered by humility. "I will shine with strength, but I will not seek to outshine all. You, Selene," they continued, her gaze upon her daughter, cloaked in silver, "are the gentle light of night. You guide travelers, soothe dreamers, and guard the realm of sleep. Mortals will whisper prayers to you when they are lost in darkness. But remember, too much shadow blinds, and too much silence drowns." Selene placed her silver staff upon the earth, her eyes shimmering. "I will shine softly, that even the weary may find peace. And you, Eos," they said, smiling at her radiant daughter, whose laughter always seemed to chase away the night, "are the promise of renewal. Each dawn you bring hope, reminding mortals that no night is endless. But remember, hope is fragile. Too much haste blinds, and too much light burns away gentleness." Eos twirled her rosy hair and beamed, her joy as radiant as the first blush of morning. "Then I will rise, not just with brightness, but with kindness." Theia raised her hands to the heavens, her voice resounding with the authority of divine law. "Together, you are not three scattered lights, but one unbroken cycle. The dawn heralds the day yields to the night, and the night gives birth once more to dawn. This is the eternal truth of the cosmos. This is the eternal cycle." As her words spread across the heavens, the stars themselves seemed to lean closer, listening. The sea shimmered, and even the earth quaked softly in reverence. From that day forward, the roles of Helios, Selene, and Eos were bound into the rhythm of existence. Yet far below, Cronus heard this declaration within his prison of Tartarus. His laughter was bitter, sharp as a broken blade. "They celebrate their cycle as if it will protect them forever," he muttered, chains rattling as he strained against them. "But cycles can be broken. Light can falter. Unity can shatter." His words echoed in the abyss, a promise that the Titans' war was not yet ended. Still, in the world above, the eternal cycle began to take shape. Mortals awoke each morning to Eos's rosy touch, labored beneath Helios's golden chariots, and found rest beneath Selene's silver glow. They offered prayers to each in turn, learning to see the gods not as rivals, but as one harmonious rhythm. And so, with unity restored and their roles defined, the children of Theia and Hyperion became the eternal guardians of light. They watched with pride, though her gaze lingered with sorrow, for she knew the age of Titans would soon end. The Olympians grew stronger with each generation, their power rising like a storm on the horizon. But in her heart, they also knew this: the eternal cycle her children embodied could never truly be broken. So long as mortals awoke, lived, and dreamed, Helios, Selene, and Eos would endure. And thus the tale of Theia, Titaness of sight and shining light, came to its close knot, in silence, but in radiance. For her legacy was written across the sky itself, eternal, unyielding, and ever renewing.